Hello, dear ones. Father Peter John here, coming to you from South Fairfax Road in Bloomington. Christ is risen. I hope and pray you are all doing well. I wanted to share something with you that I learned today. I was curious. Sometimes I just get these questions in my head, I think as all of us do. And I thought, I wonder what the Philokalia says about patience. Now, the Philokalia is a multi-volume collection of the sayings of the fathers of the church. And it's a wonderful collection of sayings, and there's much to be learned. A lot of depth, to say the least. So I was curious. I thought, I wonder what, in this instance, the Philokalia would have to offer with regard to the virtue of patience. And so I looked it up. I was curious. And it says, patience, definition. With the eyes of the mind, always to see the invisible as visible. With the eyes of the mind, always to see the invisible as visible. Isn't that interesting? With the eyes of the mind, always to see the invisible as visible. Awesome. What's being said there? What's being said is that a person who sees what is unseen, or a person who perceives that there is always an invisible meaning behind what is happening visibly, that person will become patient or is exercising the virtue of patience, because they don't just look at a situation and see it at its face value. With the eyes of their mind, with their heart, they sense that there's something much bigger going on, that there's far more to be perceived than we can see with our physical eyes, that there is something of spiritual and divine importance for us that goes far beyond what is palpable. So then I thought, well, I want to just get to the root of what the word patience means, where it comes from, right? What is its etymology? I love that word, etymology. And so I was looking and I found one of the main definitions of the word patience, both in Greek and in Latin. One of the main definitions is suffering. Isn't that interesting again? Because think about that. If someone says you need to be more patient with your child, you might think, well, what does that mean? I need to give Johnny 17 chances to wash a glass without cracking it, or something like this, right? We think of it as something that we're doing for someone else in order to let them learn something, or something like this. But think about that definition, suffering. What the definition suggests is that we are going to have to suffer something, some loss, maybe a loss of our time, maybe a loss of our glasses that Johnny is breaking when he's learning how to clean them properly. Whatever it might be, that we are suffering some kind of loss. We're suffering some kind of a change in order for the benefit of ourselves or for someone else, probably both. So brothers and sisters, I wanted to bring this to you for your reflection, for your personal thoughts, so that you could savor it a little bit. This idea that patience, in the words of the Philokalia and the understanding of the classical fathers of the church, that patience was seeing with the eyes of the mind, that which is invisible as visible. In other words, can we start to really look at the world, at our present circumstances of being shut in and socially distanced and disconnected from the church physically? Can we start to see that with spiritual eyes and recognize that God is working something great within each of us, giving us opportunities through suffering, to be connected with Him spiritually in a way that we were not before. Again, seeing our present time of struggle and isolation and separation as a gift from God because He wants to draw us closer to Himself. Can we look at it from that perspective? That's the challenge. Can we suffer that? God is worth it. Our connection to God is worth it. I challenge and encourage each of us to grab that by the horns and say, yes, I receive it. I accept it. God, give me the strength to endure it. Christ is risen. Indeed, He is risen.